Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how is your day? First, let me introduce myself. My name is Annisa Oktavianti. In this video, I am going to do a presentation about reader response, interpreting the Variorum by Stanley. The contents in this presentation are: the first one is reader response theory. The second one is reader response theories by Stanley. And the last is interpreting the Variorum by Stanley. So the first one, we are going to talk about reader response theory. Reader response theory is based on an effort to eliminate the relationship between the reader and the text. In order for readers to make sense of these literary texts, the theory tends to focus on a range of different roles readers should adopt when they are engaged in the process of reading. Reader response theory is grounded upon the assumption that in a reading experience, readers act a part as much as the text to make an interpretation. Reader response theory rejects new criticism, which is based on the idea that meaning is solely generated by the text and can only be discovered by improved analytic skill. Tyson, 2009, outlines the features of reader response theory. The role of the reader cannot be omitted from our understanding of literature. Readers do not passively consume the meaning presented to them by an objective literary text. Rather, they actively make the meaning they find in literature. Next is reader response theories by Stanley. Reader response theory anticipates key role to reading as an activity which weaves meaning in a text through an actively interpreted procedure. Fish emphasizes on the temporal characters of the reading event in opposition to the spatial that relies on capturing the text through a glance that takes in a whole. Fish views the objectivity of a text as an illusion that persuades through its actuality of a line of print that is the ordinance of value and meaning that a reader correlates with it. Fish states, the act of recognizing literature is not constrained by something in the text, nor does it issue from an independent and arbitrary will. Rather, it proceeds from a collective decision as to what will count as a literature, a decision that will be enforced only so long as a community of readers or believers continue to abide by it. This exemplifies the plural and fragmented nature of the meaning of a text interconnected with different contexts. Moving on to interpreting the Variorum by Stanley. Stanley explicitly wants to write the text out of existence altogether as an autonomous object, even partly independent of the act of reading. He also substitutes the word write for what readers do. The latter rewrite the text, originally written obviously by an author, in line with the particular interpretative strategies that they employ. Fish is of the view that both the formal structures which critics purport merely to describe in a text and the author's intention, which they claim to identify, are the function of the interpretative strategies which the critic employs. Paradoxically, it is the nature of the interpretative acts employed which dictates the forms and the intention thoughts to be merely identified in a given text. Interpretive community. Here, Fish considers the following objection. If interpretive acts are the source of forms rather than the other way around, why isn't the case that readers are always performing the same acts or a sequence of random acts, and therefore creating the same form or a random succession of forms? In other words, which acknowledge the stability of interpretation among readers and the variety of interpretation in the career of a single reader, would seem to argue for the existence of something independent of and prior to interpretive acts, something which produced them. Fish's answer is that both the stability and the variety of our function or interpretive strategies rather than of text. The act of reading is never reducible to a process of simply reading, nor an act of pure, that is, disinterested perception. Fish contends that interpretive communities are no more stable than the text because interpretive strategies are not natural or universal, but learned. There is no point at an individual has not learned any, for the ability to interpret is not acquired. It is constitutive of being human. What is learned are the various ways of interpreting which can be forgotten or supplanted or complicated or dropped from favor. No one reads that way anymore. When any of these things happen, there is a corresponding change in text, not because they are being read differently, but because they are being written differently. So that's all for my presentation. I'm sorry if I made any mistakes during the presentation. Thank you everyone. Have a good day. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.